This is a full story. Kitten wishes you all a happy and enjoyable story. After going on a business trip with her boss, my girlfriend, who usually stayed up late, went to bed unusually early tonight. But in the middle of the night, I suddenly received a message from her. "Baby, I miss you." 10 minutes later, she sent another message. "Baby, I love you. I really, really love you." I smiled. Then I messaged her boss directly. "She is HPV, you knew that, right?" At 1 a.m., my phone screen was still flashing nonstop. There were 99 unread messages, some trying to explain, some angry, some threatening, but most of them were insults. I didn't have time to read them. I was too busy. The house was filled with Haley's stuff. It took me until 3 a.m. to throw everything into the trash. Only then did I remember to reply. Idiot. She sent even more messages after that, but I blocked her, and for once I slept peacefully through the night. Unfortunately, before dawn, I was awakened by loud banging on the door. Then came Haley's sharp voice. "Rocky, open the door." I got up with a sigh. Last night I was too focused on throwing her stuff out and forgot to change the door lock code. Luckily, I had locked the bedroom from inside. Otherwise, Haley wouldn't just be knocking. "Haley, are you insane? It's only 6. The knocking stopped when she heard my voice. She stood outside the door stunned, unable to believe I was speaking to her with such impatience. In the past, I would have been timid, nervously explaining myself, afraid she'd get angry. But now all I wanted was for her to leave. Sadly, her shock didn't last long. The next second, she banged even harder. "Rocky, how dare you talk to me like that?" Her shrill voice made me frown. I used to think she was gentle. Even her anger seemed adorable. Now she just looked like a shrew. I couldn't take it anymore and opened the door. Before I could say anything, her finger was already pointing inches from my nose. "Rocky, who gave you the right to touch my stuff?" Clearly she had seen everything I threw away. I looked at her calmly. It was then I noticed she had changed clothes. Not the ones she wore before the trip. Clothes I had never seen before. Maybe it was the way I looked at her, or maybe it was my silence. Either way, Haley exploded again. "Rocky, you owe me an explanation. Do you know how humiliated I was because of that message? We're in a relationship. I was only on a short trip with my boss, and you can't even trust me." I leaned against the wall, catching a faint whiff of cologne on her. It wasn't mine. The scent made me nauseous, but I didn't care to argue. "Of course I trust you." Her hand froze midair. Then she smiled. "Then hurry up and clear things up with President Bang." I looked at her in disbelief. Then it all made sense. I used to be like that. Whenever we argued, I would always be the first to apologize, even when she was clearly in the wrong. Looking back, I was a joke. I took out my phone, opened the chat with President Bame in front of her. "Sure, I'll explain it for you." President Bame: "Sorry, I sent the wrong message yesterday. Haley doesn't have HPV." She visibly relaxed, patting her chest in relief. I found it laughable. Laughable that I once loved her. "She is HIV." I hit send and closed the chat. Haley's smile froze. She grabbed my arm furious. "Rocky, are you insane?" I looked at her calmly. "Yes, I must have been, to ever fall for someone like you." "Haley, keep your dignity. Let's break up." She froze, realizing I might have found something out. Panic filled her eyes. "Rocky, it's not what you think. I'm doing this for our future. If I can get closer to President Bang, I'll get promoted and we'll live better. Now he thinks I have HPV, and he's avoiding me. I won't get promoted anymore. Please explain it to him. I'm doing this for our family." I laughed. There was no warmth in my eyes. "For our family. She calls this for our future." That was the first time I'd heard someone make cheating sound so noble. "Haley, do you really need me to spell it out?" I pointed to her new outfit, a deep V neckline, revealing glimpses of her underwear. Even her undergarments were different. "Then explain why even your underwear is new." She was speechless. Her eyes darted. Then she exploded in anger. "Do you really have to be so petty? Men fool around all the time. Why can't a woman use some tricks?" I had no words. I turned to go back to the bedroom. She screamed louder. "Rocky, get back here. Apologize right now, or I'll break up with you." I didn't even pause. "Then let's break up." Her face twisted. She pointed at the door. "You said it. Rocky, get out." I turned back, looking at her like she was insane. "If I'm not mistaken, this is my house." Haley slammed the door and left. Before going, she glared at me and shouted, "Just wait. Even if you beg me on your knees, I won't forgive you." I stood at the door, watching her storm away. For some reason, I felt nothing but calm. I closed the door, took a deep breath, and looked around. This home, once overflowing with her makeup, clothes, and clutter, had finally returned to its clean state. I could still smell her lingering perfume in the air, but I opened the windows, letting the night breeze clear it out. The next day, I went to work like usual. Everything at the office was the same. No one noticed I had just ended a relationship. At my desk, my fingers tapped steadily on the keyboard, as if nothing had happened the night before. But I knew something had changed forever. In my free time, I deleted everything related to her from my phone. That evening, my phone began to vibrate nonstop. Messages from Haley kept popping up. "Rocky, what are you doing? Why did you delete everything about me from your social media? Are you crazy? We haven't even broken up yet. Say something. Why are you pretending to be dead?" My social media used to be filled with posts about her, but hers had always been clean, never once showing me. She claimed it was for work. Back then I didn't question it. Now I understand, but I don't care anymore. I glanced at her messages, didn't reply, and cleared the notifications. Then her call came in. I hesitated for a second, but picked up. "Rocky, what the hell are you doing?" Her voice was shrill, filled with anger and a hint of panic. I paused for 2 seconds. I'm cleaning up the past, as you can see. You. She choked on her words, not expecting me to be so calm. I didn't want to hear anymore. I hung up. Still, there was a weight in my chest. After all, we had been together for 3 years. How could I let go so easily? But then, I stopped in front of a restaurant. Through the large window, I saw Haley. She had just put down her phone and was now holding the arm of President Bame. She was smiling sweetly, closely leaning into him. It was a tenderness she had never shown me. I stared at them for a few seconds, then smiled. Just then, my phone rang again. It was Serena, an old friend I hadn't spoken to in a long time. Hello, I answered. Rocky, where are you? Her voice was calm as always, with a hint of concern. On my way home. I kept walking, not sparing another glance at Haley. I heard, you broke up with Haley. She hesitated, but asked anyway. I chuckled. News travels fast. No, she said softly. I just saw Haley with President Bame. I paused, turned around, and finally noticed a familiar figure. I hung up the phone and walked quietly behind her like playing a prank. At that moment, Serena was stomping her foot hard. Stupid Rocky, rotten Rocky. I just mentioned Haley once and he hung up on me. You simpering lapdog. Who are you calling a lapdog? Serena jumped in surprise. When she turned around, a flash of delight crossed her eyes, but she quickly regained her composure. Well, if it isn't our great genius Rocky. What a coincidence. Cut it out, I chuckled, then pointed to the side. Let's walk and talk. Serena nodded and followed me, though her eyes couldn't help glancing back. Inside the upscale restaurant, Haley was practically lying in President Bame's arms. I noticed Serena holding back her words, so I spoke first. It's okay. I've already moved on. Serena finally let out a breath of relief, then turned to look at me again. Do you remember the promise we made? I raised an eyebrow. What promise? The Vivid Group project, she said with a hint of hope. We hit a bottleneck. If you're willing to come back. I closed my eyes. Memories of myself at Harvard came rushing back, burning with ambition, writing proposals with Serena through the night, and the opportunity one gave up for Haley, just because she wanted to return to her hometown. Now I was finally clear-headed. Okay, I opened my eyes, voice steady. I'll come back. This time, I'll live for myself. At 3 a.m., Haley's heels clattered messily down the corridor. She stumbled to my apartment door drunk. When she tried to unlock it with her fingerprint, the screen kept showing errors. Change the password. Rocky, you bastard. She flipped off the security camera, banged on the door for a long time, then left cursing under her breath. Early the next morning, Haley woke up groggily and instinctively dialed my number. Once connected, she said impatiently, Rocky, make me some oatmeal. Same as always. Not too sweet. Sick in the head. I snapped then hung up, hearing the busy tone in her ear. Haley stared blankly at her phone. Her fingers trembled slightly. In the past, when she got drunk, I would always be the first to make her oatmeal, patiently taking care of her. But now, all she heard was a cold curse and a clean hang-up. Her eyes burned. She quickly typed in the chat window, Rocky, you've gone too far. I drank so much last night, and you don't even care. You used to. Before she finished, a jarring system message popped up. Friend request verification is enabled. You are not in the recipient's friend list. He deleted me. Haley jumped to her feet. Sleep fled from her in an instant. Her eyes were filled with panic. She tapped send repeatedly, but all her messages disappeared into the void. She bit her lip and dialed again, only to hear, the number you dialed is currently in another call. Just now, I had blocked her number. Haley's face twisted, playing hard to get. Fine you in this time. Furious, she stormed out of the hotel and ran straight into a stranger. The woman was wearing a sharp business suit, hair tied up neatly, as cool as she scanned Haley's messy hair and swollen eyes. Who are you? Haley instinctively pulled her coat tight. Serena, the woman said, walking straight past her, almost like claiming her territory. You're not worthy of Rocky. From now on, stop bothering him. Who the hell are you? Haley screamed. Our relationship is none of your business. Serena laughed lightly, checked her watch, and said, Miss Haley, you two are over. You should know your place. Oh, and by the way, Rocky will be leaving the city in 3 hours. She paused. With me. Haley looked like she'd been struck by lightning. Her nails dug deep into her palms. No way. He wouldn't leave with you. I'm still here. In the past, I would have appeared anywhere she was, as long as I could be near her. It felt like I owned the world. But now, Serena gave a soft smile, said no more, and turned to leave. 3 hours later, as Serena and I stepped into the departure gate, Haley finally arrived at the airport, stumbling and panicked. Rocky, I won't let you go. She ran toward me in a frenzy. Her high heels made her trip several times, but she didn't stop. The sight almost moved me. Serena looked at me. There's still time to change your mind. I shook my head. There wasn't a ripple left in my heart. Let's go. As I turned, Haley lunged toward me. She grabbed my arm, eyes filled with pleading. Rocky, don't go. I frowned and pulled away. Miss, please behave yourself. I'm a clean freak. Her face turned pale. Just as she was about to retort, a security guard stepped in and held her back. Rocky, you can't run from this. Just wait. I didn't look back. I held Serena's hand and walked through the gate. 1 month later, flashbulbs crisscrossed on the stage of the press conference. I stood confidently beneath the Vivid Group logo, speaking smoothly to the audience. The live data curve on the big screen drew waves of applause. Serena gave me a thumbs up from the front row. Meanwhile, Haley stomped her foot, clutching a newspaper. The headline, "Genius Engineer Rocky Solves AI Crisis," was now scratched by her fingernails. That night, my mother called. Her voice sounded increasingly anxious. "Rocky, Haley said she really knows she was wrong. You're a man. Why hold a grudge like this? She's lost weight. She hasn't eaten properly for days." I rubbed my temples and cut her off. "Mom, our story is over." Then I hung up, put my phone on silent, and continued working on the project proposal. 3 days later, my mother showed up at the Vivid Group office. When the front desk notified me, I froze for a few seconds before hurrying downstairs. She stood in the lobby, holding a thermos. Her eyes turned red when she saw me. "You don't even listen to your own mother now." I took her to the lounge, trying to explain. Haley never really loved me. But she waved her hand impatiently. "Young people fight all the time. What's wrong with you giving in a little? And if she didn't love you, why would she come begging me to help her ask for your forgiveness? Can't you give her another chance?" She got more and more worked up, even grabbing my sleeve. "Call her right now and apologize. She's crying every day. Don't you feel guilty at all?" I took a deep breath, just about to argue back, when Serena walked in. "Rocky, urgent tech meeting. The client wants to connect in 10 minutes. My mother frowned. "Work again. All you care about is work." I seized the moment to stand up. "Mom, let's talk about this another time." She tried to stop me, but seeing the firmness in my eyes, she sighed and left. As she turned, I saw her secretly wiping away tears. A sharp ache filled my chest. At 2 a.m., the lights were still on in Vivid Group's office. Serena walked over with 2 cups of coffee and placed one in front of me. After working 18 hours straight, even Engineer Rocky needs a break. The rich aroma cut through the fatigue. I took the cup, and my fingers accidentally brushed hers. Serena quickly pulled her hand back, the tips of her ears turning red, but she pretended to calmly read the test report. I smiled, not pointing out her nervousness. For the past month, we had worked side by side. From awkward beginnings to smooth cooperation, Serena had always been my most dependable partner. Her focus and composure were the exact opposite of Haley's restlessness. "I'm going to the restroom, then we'll call it a night," Serena said, placing the report down and walking away. The office suddenly fell silent, leaving only the hum of the servers. I stood up to stretch my stiff shoulders and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window. As I was lost in thought, the elevator chimed. Someone was coming at this hour. I turned around puzzled and saw a familiar figure step out of the elevator. Haley. She wore a simple white dress, her hair gently resting on her shoulders. Her makeup was so light, she looked completely different from the heavily made-up woman she used to be. When she saw me, her eyes lit up, but she quickly lowered her head, her fingers nervously twisting together. "Rocky." Her voice was barely audible. I stood where I was and cut her off. "How did you get in?" "The building requires an access card. I waited downstairs all day and followed someone who was working late." She bit her lip, eyes red with tears. "I know you don't want to see me, but I had to apologize." I took a deep breath, forcing down the surge of emotion. "Haley, we're over." "No." She suddenly stepped forward, but stopped about 2 meters away, as if afraid of scaring me. "Rocky, I know I was wrong. I haven't seen President Bame." "No, that old man this whole month." She pulled a familiar hair tie from her bag. "Look, this was your birthday gift to me last year. I kept it. And this." She took out an old teddy bear keychain. "We won this on our first date at the amusement park." My heart clenched. I had looked everywhere for that keychain, thinking she had thrown it away. Haley noticed my hesitation and took a step forward. "Rocky, I swear I won't betray you again." I finally realized. "You were the only one who truly cared for me. That old man, he just saw me as young." Before I could reply, Serena returned, wearing a professional smile. "Sorry, am I interrupting something?" Haley's expression changed immediately. She straightened her back, her fragile look replaced by hostility. "So you're Serena?" Serena nodded politely, walked to my side, and handed me a folder. "This report needs your signature. It's for tomorrow morning's client meeting." I took the file and could feel Haley's burning stare. She suddenly laughed, but the sound sent chills down my spine. "So that's how it is. You've already got someone new. No wonder you're so cold to me." "Haley," I said sternly, "watch your mouth. Serena is my partner and friend." "Friend?" Haley sneered, pointing at the oversized blazer Serena wore. "A friend wearing your clothes. Alone with you at 2 a.m. Enough." I frowned. "If you don't leave, I'll call security." Haley lifted her head, her face twisted. "Rocky, you think she really likes you? She only wants your skills. Once she's done using you, that's still better than being treated like an ATM." I said calmly. "Haley, let go. Leave with some dignity." Her chest heaved violently. Suddenly, she grabbed the coffee cup from the table and hurled it at Serena. "You bitch. It's all your fault." Instinctively, I stepped in front of Serena. The hot coffee spilled on my shirt. Serena gasped and quickly grabbed tissues to wipe me. Haley froze, seeing our closeness. The fire in her eyes turned into despair. "Fine, great." Haley staggered back. "Rocky, you'll regret this. You think she's better than me. Just wait." She rushed into the elevator, and just before the doors closed, she screamed, "I won't give up. You'll always be mine." Since that night, Haley had disappeared. I thought she'd finally let it go. At Vivid Group's anniversary gala, crystal lights shimmered above, and glasses clinked in celebration. I was chatting with investors when the ballroom doors burst open. Haley stormed in, wearing a blinding red dress. Her heels echoed on the marble floor, and the room fell silent. She headed straight for the stage, grabbed the microphone from the host, her voice trembling through tears. "Rocky, I know you're here." The spotlight followed her gaze to me. I set my glass down with a frown. Beside me, Serena clenched her fists. "I regretted every day this past month." Haley sobbed through her makeup. She held up a velvet box. "Look, I even prepared the ring. I didn't cherish you back then, but I'll change everything now." She stumbled off the stage and knelt before me. "Please marry me. I swear to love only you forever." The guests murmured in shock. Some filmed with their phones. Others whispered to each other. I stepped back, calmly pulled my sleeve from her grasp. "Haley, it's over." "No," she screamed, and overturned a nearby champagne tower. The crashing glasses drew gasps. Security rushed over. She struggled, tore open her collar, and revealed a fresh tattoo on her collarbone. It was my name. "I carved you into my bones. How can you leave me?" Her madness clashed with the elegance of the gala. Her lipstick was smeared, like a puppet whose strings had snapped. The chaotic video went viral online. Vivid group proposal gone wild. Haley's breakdown for love. Rocky cheated during relationship. One headline after another topped the trending list. I turned off notifications, but gossip leaked through every crack. I heard President Rocky dumped her after he got bored. She even tattooed his name. That's true devotion. The chatter in the break room ended the moment I entered. Serena slammed a stack of documents on the table, her jaw tight as the screen reflected her anger. Legal has already sent letters to the top 5 rumor accounts. I stared at the paused video. Haley being dragged away by security, her nails carving red marks into the carpet. The woman I once loved with all my heart now looked like a stray dog. By the 4th morning, public opinion began to shift. Neighbors had cornered Haley outside her apartment. Someone filmed her getting slapped in the garden, a neighbor yanking her hair and yelling, "Homewrecker deserves to die." The video got over 1 million likes. Soon people dug up her flirty chats with multiple company executives. The explicit messages mirrored the ones she once sent me. Then I received a message from a stranger's number. "Rocky, it's not true. I love only you. I never betrayed you." I laughed and deleted the text. My mother's message came unexpectedly. On the phone, her voice was filled with guilt. "Rocky, I saw what's going on online. It's my fault. I shouldn't have pressured you." I gripped the phone, bitterness rising in my chest. "Mom, I don't blame you." She paused, then sighed. "You've been mature since you were little. I was too anxious. I'm downstairs at your company. Can we talk?" 10 minutes later, I met her in the lobby. She wore a plain coat, holding a thermal bag, her eyes filled with apology. I quickly took the bag. Inside was my favorite apple pie. She used to make it whenever I felt wronged as a kid. "You even made this." My nose stung. She wiped her eyes, just as Serena's voice came from behind. "Rocky, this document needs." She paused upon seeing my mom, then smiled brightly. "Hello, Auntie. I'm Serena, Rocky's colleague." My mother's eyes stayed on Serena for a few seconds. Serena wore a light blouse and skirt, her ponytail neat, her eyes shining as she spoke softly. "So you're Serena?" Mom beamed, grabbing her hand. "Rocky talks about you a lot. Says you two work great together." "When did I say that?" Serena blushed and sneaked a glance at me. Then she turned to my mom. "Annie, have you eaten yet? There's a good steakhouse nearby." Mom waved it off, her eyes shifting between us. Suddenly, she handed the apple pie to Serena. "You young people are busy, so I won't stay. Share this with Rocky." "Okay, Serena. Please take care of him for me." She winked at me and left. Serena and I stood there, holding the pie. The air felt strangely still. She looked down at the bag, her lashes trembling. "Annie is so kind." "Yeah." I looked at the red tips of her ears and blurted out, "Are you free tonight? There's a new sci-fi movie out. The effects look amazing." Serena looked up, her eyes shining like stars. "Yes." Then she caught herself, cleared her throat, and added, I just finished some projects." My mom turned back just in time to see the two of us smiling at each other. My relationship with Serena grew increasingly ambiguous, while Haley's days grew darker. Ever since the scandal, the company's top management had turned cold toward her. The important project she once led was suddenly reassigned. Her voice was frequently interrupted in meetings. She sat at her desk, watching her coworkers avoid eye contact, a chill settling deep in her heart. Worse still, she often saw photos of me and Serena online. Serena in her crisp suit holding documents, smiling faintly. I would be beside her listening attentively, nodding occasionally. The atmosphere between us was natural, effortlessly in sync, as if we had long been part of each other's world. Haley stared at her phone, her nails digging into her palm. That used to be her place, standing beside me in those photos. Eventually, she quit her job and came to my city, constantly appearing in my life. Every morning, a neatly packed breakfast would appear on my desk, sometimes hot coffee and nuts, sometimes sandwiches she made herself. Next to it, a handwritten note. "Rocky, don't skip breakfast." I handed the food to passing coworkers, without even glancing at it. From behind a corner, Haley watched with red eyes. She remembered once, in the middle of the night, she suddenly craved croissants from the East End. I ran out without hesitation. In my rush, I got knocked down by a bicycle and scraped my knee badly. But when I brought the bread to her, she frowned with disgust. "What took you so long? It's cold now." Now, she finally knew what it felt like to be ignored. Her best friend advised her, "Men care about pride. Keep trying and he'll come around. Didn't he pursue you for 2 full years back then? Haley bit her lip, her eyes slowly turning resolute. I can't give up, she said, clenching her fists. He loved me once. He'll come back. So she began chasing me harder than ever. Breakfast every morning without fail. Accidental coffee encounters during lunch. And coincidental chats on the way home. I remained completely indifferent until one night. She appeared in front of me, drunk, barely able to stand, clutching my sleeve with tear-streaked cheeks. Rocky, I really know I was wrong. Please give me one more chance. I calmly pulled my sleeve free. Haley, don't make this more embarrassing for yourself. Her calls and texts continued to flood my phone. She tried every way she could to win me back, apologizing at 3 a.m., waiting outside my company building, sending messages through mutual friends, saying she knew her mistakes and wanted to change, but I didn't want to hear another word. One night, her best friend suddenly called me, panic clear in her voice. Rocky, come to the hospital now. Haley's drinking caused a gastric hemorrhage. She's in emergency care. She said she wants to see you one last time. I held the phone in silence for a few seconds. Serena was sitting beside me, organizing project materials. She looked up and asked softly, what's wrong? I ended the call and tossed the phone onto the desk. Haley's in the hospital with a stomach bleed. Her friend says she wants to see me. Serena's fingers paused briefly, but quickly resumed flipping through documents. Her voice was calm. Are you going? I leaned back in my chair and closed my eyes. Memories of Haley surged back. How I stayed up all night to care for her when she was sick. How I soothed her temper with gentle words. How I tried to fulfill her every wish. And how in return, I got betrayal and pain. I opened my eyes and picked up my phone. I opened our chat. Her last message said, Rocky, I really know I was wrong. Can you give me one more chance? I stared at the screen for a few seconds, then slid my finger and hit delete contact. I'm not going, I said as I put down the phone and looked at Serena. What's past should stay in the past. Serena's lips curved slightly, but she quickly composed herself. She closed the folder and stood up. Then, shall we keep working? I nodded, turning back to my computer screen. Outside, the night was deep. The city lights still glowed brightly. Some people, some stories, are simply not worth revisiting. A year later, Serena and I were married. The wedding hall was filled with white roses. Sunlight poured through the glass dome, casting a warm and sacred glow. Serena wore a simple and elegant gown. She held my arm, walking slowly to the altar, amidst blessings from family and friends. Her fingertips trembled slightly, but when she looked into my eyes and smiled, her gaze overflowed with certainty and joy. In the last row of the chapel, Haley stood silently. She wore oversized sunglasses, her lips pale, her fingers clutching the back of a chair tightly. Through the gaps in the crowd, she saw me place the ring on Serena's finger, heard us exchange vows, watched the gentleness that once belonged only to her, now given entirely to someone else. Memories rushed in like a tide. She remembered how I ran across the city in a storm, just to bring her ginger tea, how she once casually said she liked cherry blossoms, and I planted rows of them on the balcony, how every time she threw a tantrum, I would still say, it's okay. But now, the man who once held her in his hands was kissing another woman on the forehead, his eyes holding no trace of her. A tear fell, hitting the edge of her sunglasses. She turned and fled, stumbling at the door. No one noticed her disgrace, just as she had never truly seen me back then. Years later, on a rainy evening, I was waiting at a red light when I saw a woman fall off her bicycle into a puddle. She struggled to get up, clearly in pain. Out of instinct, I got out to help her. As I pulled her up, she looked at me. Her expression shifted from confusion to shock, then to something indescribably complex. Rocky. Her voice was hoarse, barely recognizable. Only then did I realize it was Haley. Though she wasn't yet 30, her face was weathered, wrinkles deep at the corners of her eyes, hair dry and dull, clothes faded and worn. I paused for a moment, then regained my composure. Be careful, I said. Then I turned and walked back to my car. Serena was in the passenger seat. She looked at me. Someone you know. I nodded and started the engine. Yeah, an old friend. In the rearview mirror, Haley still stood in place, blankly watching us drive away. Rain fell on her, but she seemed to feel no cold. Serena said nothing, just gently took my hand. The car drove into the curtain of rain, leaving the past behind. Late that night, my phone screen lit up. A message from an unfamiliar number appeared. Rocky, I got married. He's not much. Can't even afford a mortgage. Every day I wonder, if I hadn't betrayed you, would I be the one standing beside you now? I glanced at it. My finger hovered over the screen for 2 seconds, then pressed delete without hesitation. When I looked up, Serena was watching me. What is it? She placed a piece of green vegetable in my bowl. Nothing, just spam. I smiled and wiped the rice from our daughter's mouth. Under the warm yellow light, our daughter was chattering about preschool stories. Serena listened gently, occasionally exchanging smiles with me. Outside, the night was deep, but inside, everything was warm as spring. The end. If you like Kitten's story, please follow and like it. Updated every morning at 9 a.m.